No, not yet. No. 1, 2, 3, I do.
You're up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Game in action here between the men in the dark shale kits. That is the Seattle Sounders U23 and the home field Puget Sound Gunners. We're just getting underway, just under a minute into play now. We have not missed much. We'll get right to the action. I want to remind you that we'd like to thank you for watching this broadcast of Puget Sound Gunners FC Soccer. It's presented by Swedish Issaquah and also sponsored by ProLiant Surgeons and ProLiant Orthopedic and Sports Medicine and by My Spine Sports Chiropractic. We're at the home rug here at Issaquah High School. Puget Sound Gunners enjoying a 2-game winning streak heading into this ball game. The reverse is true for the Sounders FC, and that is a 2-game losing streak. Then they're trying to come in here and keep the Gunners underneath them in the table, and a win for the Gunners would vault them above the Sounders FC in the table. So it's a game that you can see a little bit of change. Still outskirts looking in as far as playoff contention goes, but still mathematically possible. And the Gunners feeling the way they are, it's certainly going to take nothing short of a cavalry charge to get them into the playoffs, but certainly possible. And the way that they've been playing so far, they are definitely making some waves. Keith Neely alongside Nathan Murphy here on the broadcast. We welcome in Nathan. A bit of a scheduling, not too much of a trouble because we got you right here before the game, but originally scheduled at 4 o'clock here on is Independence Day, and they changed that to 3, an early start, and everybody running into the gates at the last minute, including us.
We apologize for that. Area, and they kept the penalty area clean almost the entire night, and they stuck with it, and it worked very well for them. I assume they did something similar at Crossfire on Monday night. Like I said, we didn't get to see that game, but they seem to be doing it again here. They've got a lot of men packed in between the 18-yard box on defense, and so that very disciplined defending seems to be working for them.
Jimmy Ball announced the lineup moments ago, and he's got Keegan Rogers, the steady hand in net as the keeper. Michael Dodd, Zach Hammond, Luke Brose, and Kevin Cook are your fullbacks in defense. Justin Dirksen, Eric Urzua, Matt Aronimo, and Brady Ballou in midfield, and Vincent McCluskey and Jeffrey Rose are your attack men today. Nestled in the valley here between Squaw Mountain and Tiger Mountain. Beautiful setting for pretty much any sport, but exquisite today.
This is what it's all about. 4th of July, as perfect a day as you could ask for, and as has been referred to in the Seattle soccer blogs, a big weekend of soccer for Seattle fans, starting with this game today. The Sounders women play today. The Reign play over the weekend, a Cascadia match for the senior Sounders. And then an Open Cup match on Tuesday against the Timbers for the senior Sounders. So a big weekend for soccer here in the Puget Sound.
Darren Swatsky, the head coach for the Sounders U23 squad, puts Caldwell Jefferson in net. And then in defense, Brandon Brockway, Steve Moan, Austin Dunler, Chase Hansen are your defenders. Michael Baja, Jordan Schweitzer, Zev Tulib, and Derek Johnson are the midfielders, and Joey Gertzen and Mohamed Damuya are the attacking forwards. Huiza.
Biza.
Biza. Did I get that right? I'll butcher
I
it
have
one
the
way or
advan-
another.
I have
You've
the
seen
advantage
once.
of having called this team already once.
You've
You
seen
don't.
them once. Matter of fact, that was a 3-2 win for the Sounders in
That
the
was
second game of the regular season.
Easily the most exciting match these guys have played this year. A 3-0 lead on some absolutely marvelous attacking play. We've referred over and over this year to Kevin Cook's long throw-ins, and that was critical in that game. And then the one goal that we saw from Ash Apollon before he departed for the professional ranks in Asia. But the Sounders came flying back. They got a goal in about the 80th minute, and they got a goal in the first minute of stoppage time. And I'll tell you something, they had a chance to equalize 93 minutes into the match, and it was just over the bar.
No score. We're underway here. About 8 minutes and change gone by at Issaquah High School. The visiting Sounders FC and the Puget Sound Gunners underway. Keith Neely, Nathan Murphy, and a beautiful afternoon. This one will go out on the end line, and that will be awarded a goal kick by referee Chapalo Street. He's assisted by Philippe Dorr and Ryan Fairhurst. The fourth official today is Juan Pablo Escobar. As Keegan Rogers gets set to put this one into play. And once again, you mentioned as the two-game winning streak looking to go 3 for the Gunners, it's been that defense. And Sounders also known for their defense, and they can score out of the back line also.
Well, certainly the most famous player to come off of this side is DeAndre Yedlin, who just finished his World Cup. An absolutely remarkable story that we can't help but mentioning every time we play Seattle, because to go in 2 years from playing on pitches like this on this team to playing in the World Cup and turning heads in the World Cup to the point where Sounders fans now talking and not about if he'll get transferred, but when and for how much. So an absolutely remarkable story, DeAndre Yedlin, and that's best known as a defender, certainly capable in the midfield as well, but defenders who can score, kind of the story of this under-23 side.
Here's service into the area, cleared there nicely. Little give and go off the corner, and now a long far post service is over the head, and will be another Keegan Rogers goal kick. I'd like to remind you that you can visit uslpdl.com for all the score, stats, news, and more exclusively on uslpdl.com. Thanks for being part of our Independence Day afternoon here at Issaquah High School. Puget Sound Gunners looking to make it 3 games in a row, 9 points, and that would put them above the Sounders, the visitors today, should they get a win here. The ebb and flow of the PDL season. About 3 games remaining. Puget Sound starting well. Had a bit of a lull midway through, and a couple of road trips that didn't go well from them, and that's really the difference between being in the playoff contention and not.
Trip to Portland the second week of the season. Tough losses to the Timbers and to the Lane United side that they beat here last week. And then just when they were starting to find some rhythm again, the draw with Crossfire, they were playing a little bit better. Another really tough road trip up into British Columbia. And anytime you go, you play 2 games on a weekend and you come back empty-handed. That hurts. And credit to Jimmy Ball and these guys for recovering as they did and turning this into a winning streak, and in fact doubling their point total and then some in the course of 2 matches.
There's a shot. Right footer, no good. That off the foot of Justice Dirksen, who's been a little bit of everything for this team. Finds himself fit as attacking midfielder right now.
Including a goal scorer here last week.
And he got that beautiful goal in a 1-0 match.
Free kick
about 30 yards
in,
out.
just perfect. When the opposing Twitter feed calls it a great goal, you know you've done well.
There's Baja. He'll take control once again. Now go down the right-hand flank. Johnson had a man running on the far side. It was good service into the area. Had 2 attackers, but that defense collapses.
Well, you look right now, they've got 10 men in between the 18 yards and about 35 yards from goal. That's exactly what we saw them doing last week, and they're doing it again here. Granted, we're only 10 minutes in, but it's been very effective thus far.
Sounders will regroup. 13 minutes into the ball game here, first half, and no score.
He is.
Getting our bearings here on the rosters as we jump in early.
One thing, we talked about Yedlin already, but one thing I'm seeing from this side that we did see when they played, these two teams played in Sumner at the beginning of the year, is the backs, particularly Chase Hansen, the right back, being very willing to move up into the attack. He's on the ball right now, and he's had a couple of runs. He hasn't been given the ball because of how Puget Sound's defense has been setting up, but he's very willing to move forward and try and hit a cross in.
Now the Gertson on that right-hand side. They're just going over the top of him. He wants the ball in that forward spot. Now here's Johnson. It's taken away. On the far side is Dunler. Back to Schweitzer. He'll set things up. The aforementioned Hansen and Schweitzer, a good little 1-2 pass back and forth here across the top, setting things up and trying to create that all-important space for the Sounders.
Seattle traditionally very good on the ball. Very good skill play as far as little things in between players, interaction, things like that. It's something that's always a strength of this very well-coached side.
And that'll go on the end line for a goal kick, but a large part of that possession over the last 3 minutes was in the attacking third of the Sounders. They don't really get any quality service into the area thanks to that compact defense, but owning a lot of possession at this point.
Early in this first 15 minutes, you're seeing, compared to the match last week against Lane United, you're seeing the men in white more willing to push forward. Look how high the defensive line is right now. They're telling Seattle, if you're going to try the through ball, let's see what happens. It's a little more spread out than it was, but they're still trying to trap and stick things through the midfield. It's going to take a little more athleticism than we saw last time around, but it's also going to set them up for having a few more offensive opportunities.
Especially as the Sounders showing they're very adept at the 3v3 and 2v2s over here on this right-hand flank. Most of the possession has been on the right-hand side for the Sounders thus far. As run in now is Johnson. He'll mistime that. And back it goes to Keegan Rogers. But those 1-2 touches in the attack can wear out a defense.
It's true. It's true.
And we'll see how long it takes and if indeed the physique can be matched as along with the physical aspect of just running on this artificial turf. If it wears anybody down early, you would think at this point in the season these kids are well conditioned.
They certainly should be in good physical condition, and they also should be used to playing on fields like this. The Sounders' home field down in Sumner is a field very much like this one. So if they're not used to it at this point, they're not going to be.
Sunset Park, the stadium, Sunset Stadium down there in Sumner. We're able to spend an afternoon there. Nathan Murphy got to put in the digs. There's a header away.
That was a lot of fun.
And now Urzua will take it clear. Lone man up front, that's McCluskey, trying to be pesky, but he's finding himself a lot of double and triple teams once he gets the ball in anywhere near midfield so far.
He's not really trying to hold the ball up so far, which is something different than we saw from him last week. Against the way the Sounders are setting up, if they want to turn around on the counter, they're going to have McCluskey hold the ball up for a moment to give his men some chance to get forward. Unless they already have something running. So it's a little bit different as far as how Puget Sound is defending the counter than we saw from Lane last week.
Take a hesitation and then an explosion. If you can get behind those two defenders that seem to be just waiting amongst the weeds back there about midfield.
Oh, it's tough not to see a guy like Ashapal on here because that's exactly the explosiveness that he brought. And he shredded the Seattle defense. He scored a goal. He had 2 or 3 other really good opportunities. And in addition, he created we got a foul on the far side of the field here away from the ball.
Hansen took Bros to the turf. On the near side, the foul was far away from the ball, clear over on the far touchline, and I'm not sure I got a glimpse other than got a couple bodies on the rug.
I didn't even see that much. I was looking over here at the switch field ball, but Chapalo Street spots the infraction, and we got a free kick 30 yards out and almost all the way to the touchline here. Still a dangerous spot as you see 6 or 7 gray shirts in the area.
And now they'll put a little bit of a mimic motion on that far post are the Sounders. Headed away, no miss, swing and a miss.
Into the mixer, as Dan O'Brien is so fond of saying.
And that's what it looked like, blended up. And then this time it missed the blades as it heads in past the far end line and out of bounds it goes.
Right over top of everything. The strawberry stays intact, right?
That's right. A lot of fun this afternoon. Crowd is nice and enjoying the shirt sleeve weather here at Issaquah High School. A very nice crowd of 100, 200 people.
I mentioned that some of the Seattle soccer blogs had mentioned this match, and you can see that the Sounders traveled this time pretty well. The crowd is probably evenly split, maybe a little bit Sounders favoring here so far, but it's great to see soccer fans out in the region. That's what this is about.
Hansen to Johnson.
Nice touch by Bros.
And he tried to get it upfield on a little through ball to Schweitzer. It's taken away by Bros, as you mentioned. And Bros he's pesky. He is just one of those guys in defense that's going to be everywhere the ball is. He marks well and has a little octane in the tank.
He's got a high motor, as they say. It's fun to watch him. He's only been with the club for a couple of weeks. He's a lot of fun to watch. And he can make things happen on his side of the defense, as he tends to play left back for these guys. He's got the ability to win a ball and move it up the touchline. We saw that a couple of times last week. Some of the only opportunities that the Gunners created in the first half came on Luke Bros moving the ball up his touchline and into the attacking third.
Sounders winning the ball in the air 3 times in a row there. And we'll see if that has anything to do with the way Keegan Rogers puts it into midfield like he has the last couple of times. The duels have been won largely by the opponent.
This is true. And, I mean, just looking out over the field, we don't have the heights on the sheet with us, but it does look like the Gunners are giving up an inch or two at most of these positions.
25 on the clock here, first half. No score. Into the area goes, headed away, cleared. Dodds sends it forward, but intercepted there. And there's Bros once again right around the ball. And I'll rattle off his shins. It goes clear, taken in now by Baya.
Dirksen got manhandled a little bit there by Schweitzer. Hand on the shoulder.
And now we'll look Justice up midfield, trying to get it forward into McCluskey. It's taken away. McCluskey giving chase. And once again, the possession stacking up. Sounders with it, the majority now through the first 20 minutes of play.
The majority, most of it. Just a couple of counters, but this is what we've seen the Gunners decide this is how they're going to play. And if you can remain disciplined about it, it can be very effective because all you need is the one chance. Just one chance.
Chances fleeting so far for the Gunners, but yet no score, and you really don't need it.
It's
You're gonna
remarkable.
Test the waters. So
what a different game this is than the game we saw in Sumner a month and a half ago.
Track meet in the first one. They've cooled down the track cleats just a little bit so far through 25 minutes.
Which they can watch that game.
And now, yeah, you're gone from track meet to glacial. Now a chance to run forward into midfield. The midfielders for this Sounders squad have done a lot of the scoring. And they've been together the most of any of the other players on this side. Them, Baya, Schweitzer, Johnson, 9 games each. So they played them all, and that's your vet area on the team.
Experience is so important in this league because there's not a whole lot of it to come by. So when you have a core of guys who've played together, you really have an advantage because guys are used to, we've talked about this frequently, guys are used to where their teammates are going to be, how their teammates' runs are going to line up. It really makes a difference.
Schweitzer with 5 games, but you've got Johnson with 8 games. Hansen, 9 games, 2 goals and an assist. And Baya, whoa, there's a save and a chance for a rebound and a putback. Nicely blocked away, clear. And the crowd appreciates the effort of Keegan Rogers.
Perfect positioning on that play by Keegan. And when the shot came, he just pushed it up and away. That's absolutely stellar goalkeeping.
And now the corner.
It did help that the shot came right at him, though.
It helps, but you got to line yourself up. And when you're down early and you have to pop back up, find out where you are first, then find out where the ball is.
This is true. That's a great save.
It was a perfect save. And there's the curve in. It's clear, taken in now by Gertzen. He'll try the right foot.
It's a nice piece of work on the near post by Eric Urzua.
And now an attack and almost taken away as Rogers has to go up and over Derek Johnson to get that one and haul it clear.
And he didn't get it the first time either, but good reflexive work to get over and get onto the ball before Johnson could get on it. Keegan Rogers once again looking very strong early on.
After that offensive threat, which is denied, and now taken away clear. Here's some trouble, run on, and into the area, no foul, says referee Street, and now off the rebound, we've got a goal. Dismantling the defense and putting it home. The Sounders go up 1-0 on the shot by Gertzen.
It's a tough thing to do when you've got so many guys in there. You can deal with the first shot. You can't always deal with the second one. Gertzen, the ball just came clear to him right about the penalty spot. He took a calm touch, opened himself up, and put it perfectly home. Not a whole lot Keegan Rogers can do about that, and it's 1-0 Seattle.
Rogers playing so well in the last few matches. 2 clean sheets to his name, and now has to come back and rally his defense in front of him after putting up a good stand in the 2 minutes prior to that goal.
Yeah, the goal given up by Keegan just now does not mean he's not playing well because he's positioning himself perfectly. He's getting to the balls that he needs to get to, but it's not always possible for the goalkeeper to get to every ball. And when the rebound comes out there and is not cleared, that's often the result is a ball in the back of the net.
Free ball is awarded after a foul. And McCluskey, the lone man forward, will see how soon Jimmy Ball wants to break up the compact defense that he's instilled so far through the first 25 minutes of play. And if that's going to happen in the first half or the second, now McCluskey giving chase. And it goes right to Jefferson, the keeper for the Sounders U23 squad. 1-0. 25 minutes in the book. After McCluskey puts down a rebound right to the back. Pretty much dead center, heart of the net.
That's exactly where it was. And Keegan was still trying to scramble back after having made the first save on that sequence, and there's really no way he could have gotten to that one.
And had Gertzen not gotten to it, he had plenty of mates right in the area for a rebound.
That's true.
Hustling to the ball.
And give credit to Dumbaya. Mo Dumbaya started that sequence, by stealing the ball out on the left side and turning it into the penalty area. I didn't see who got the first shot. I think that it might have been Tabeb or Baiza, but the rebound came out to Gertson, and it's a calm touch. It's a calm and collected touch, and he placed it where the goalkeeper wasn't. That's what you got to do.
How many of those exact moments where it comes right to your feet have we seen up and over nets? from 6 and 8 yards out.
Chris Wondolowski, anybody?
Yes.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
But that's so evident, especially when you're given that deep breath and you can think about it.
To be fair, Chris did not have the time to take a touch and step sideways. He had to first time that ball. But when it falls to you and you have that much time, you have to score. And that's exactly to his credit what Joey Gertson did.
So another corner now, the third now of the afternoon, I believe, for the Sounders.
That's what I have as well.
And danger once again. They're setting up far post are the Sounders. Here comes service, left foot, high, and right to an attack. It was Toblieb on that right-hand flank that came in unmarked to begin with.
Dodds was there, though. He got it clear nicely. Gives up a fourth corner, however.
And now another service into the area, and the defense tested. The handball was asked for.
Oh, I think that the Gunners thought Hammond got stepped on. He's still jumping up and down there a little bit.
And here comes the give and go. Now left foot service, far post. A header is into the goal. Goal two! Derek Johnson went and met the service perfectly just inside the far post. That heads it home.
That's a brilliant far post ball, and perfectly positioned for Johnson to get there. That's not an easy header because he's diving away from the ball and he's diving away from the goalpost. To get enough pace on that to sneak it inside that far post, that's a great piece of skill from Derek Johnson. That's a well-earned goal from the Sounders, and it's 2-0 very quickly here.
Not only that, but to track it as that thing was bending over the defense. Not only to have the body control to be able to go meet it, but in order to time it well with that much English on it, exquisite.
Absolutely fantastic goal from the Sounders, and they deserve to be in the lead as they are. So the work cut out for the Puget Sound Gunners here this afternoon. They can't sit back and defend trailing by 2 goals. So they're going to have to turn around and try and push forward, which they had some success doing against this same Seattle side a month and a half ago in Sumner. And now they're going to have to try and replicate that success. This time they're the ones coming from behind.
And now you see a little more activity in the attacking half by the Gunners as they try to get a couple men forward at least. 2 goals. Gertson, 24th minute goal off of a rebound, and then Derek Johnson on a set piece in the 28th minute. So 4 minutes apart. And it's 2-0.
I think the service came from Baiza, though it might have been Schweitzer. In either case, the service was absolutely marvelous to the far post. And here another chance for Johnson.
Johnson turns, tries to reverse his pace and get a far post shot, or at least service on the far post, and that is denied by the defense. And now almost toying with the Gunners' defense.
Boy, the Sounders just look confident right now, don't they?
Absolutely do.
As you should be when you take a 2-goal lead in the 28th minute.
Urzua doesn't quite get it clear. Tried to find McCluskey running up the middle of the field toward the midfield mark. Hansen has it taken away. And now McCluskey tries to reverse. Nobody in the area helping him out through midfield, and they'll choose to give it up to Brose. And he'll drop it back to Rogers. Got a foot in it, snuck a foot in with Schweitzer. And he'll reward his efforts with a possession now. Again, another one for Sounders.
I mean, you hate to say it, but when you're down a couple of goals, you have to find opportunities. You can't sit back and let your opponent dictate the pace of play. And I'm not sure that this is something that the Gunners are trying to do on purpose, but the Sounders are doing great work in taking the play to the Gunners even with this lead. And if it stays this way, the Gunners are going to have to change something, or it's not going to. The score line isn't going to change either.
Johnson has found Dumbaya and had a couple of opportunities, just made the wrong decision on the turn. He turned right into Geronimo on that last opportunity. Had he turned the other direction, he had space to get a shot off. Just inside the 18.
This is true.
Urzua will drop it back to Geronimo. Geronimo looked over at Brose. Nothing there. I'm not sure if we had a substitution.
I think Ballou just wasn't on the field to begin with.
Okay, I had Rise Williams in the 18 and was looking down trying to find Brady Ballou. It was not there.
I don't see Brady out there
Williams
right now.
wearing jersey number 16 on the far side here. In midfield, Brady Ballou, of course, pretty much a household name to Gunners fans.
He's worn number 10 for the better part of 3 years now.
That's exactly right. A wily vet is Brady Ballou, but not in action, at least on the pitch right now. And there's a hard foul, and just inside. They say just outside the box.
I think that is where the contact took place. The man went down inside the penalty area, but the contact, and the referee saying, no, that foul's outside the area.
Referee Chapalo Street wasted no time setting his mark.
Frankly, I think Urzua is lucky not to go in the book there. That's it's on the edge in two different ways. It's on the edge as far as a physical foul. That's a pretty hard foul. And it's also on the edge as far as being a tactical foul. So suffice to say, Mr. Urzua does not have any leash left to use up at this point.
Probably not. And now a dangerous spot just outside the 18. And here comes the right foot low into the wall it goes. And the rebound right back to the attack man. Headed away. Dodds got on it. Now a right foot right to Rogers. A bullet. Low, but right at the keeper.
Absolutely fantastic by Keegan Rogers to get down onto that ball as Gertson struck it hard.
And a real good chance at a counterattack is off the foot of Johnson in the near touch. And now giving chase up that left-hand side.
And McCluskey adjudged to have committed the foul there.
McCluskey has been grabbing a little bit, tugging just a little bit at the defenders on his way by.
Well, I think he did, but I think what the referee didn't see, and I'm not saying that the call was wrong, because there was contact committed by the Gunners forward, but he's trying to get around the right back. I've got a wrong number here somewhere. I think that's Dunler. He's trying to get around his man, or maybe that's Brockway. And the defender's got the arm out, and he's trying to get around and trying to move the arm out of the way, and it looks like a push, where instead he's getting pushed to begin with. And yeah, that is Brockway. 23, playing
23
centrally rather than out on the left side,
yes,
as we had presumed.
2-0. Sounders FC over the top of the Gunners. And there is a collision. They say no foul, and it was pretty well thought through there by the referee, shoulder to shoulder. Both players having an equal opportunity at the loose ball.
Not all contact is a foul, and not all firm collisions are a foul. When players have an equal opportunity, as you said, to win the ball, and sometimes they're going to run into each other. This is a contact sport after all.
So after that little blow up about midfield, the common theme so far for the Sounders has been group, regroup, and attack, and they've done it all on their side of the attacking half.
And very confidently. They're playing balls exactly like this, looking for Mo Doumbaya over the top. And they're happy to play those balls because they're confident that if it doesn't work out, they're going to end up with possession in the midfield again very shortly.
And that's exactly what it is. It's almost as if the midfield, you've got 5 forwards right now constantly for the Sounders.
And the 2 wingbacks pushing up and willing to make those crosses as well. We've seen that from Steve Moan. We've seen that from Chase Hansen, rather.
And now it is Doumbaya who tries to find Johnson. Repeat the favor, but from the other direction.
Yes,
and
indeed.
it goes off the end line. It will be another corner kick.
6 in the match already.
And set pieces responsible for one of the two Sounders goals thus far. That in the 28th minute, Derek Johnson, who right now is anchoring himself ready for the service in the far post. 5 Sounders players there. Now they'll run near post. Called up the audible.
Nice
and
clearance by Cook.
Sent him from far post to near post, and once again the service has been very, very well thought through.
You can see the quality in the Sounders side, both at the individual skill level and at the team interaction. These guys are very clearly well coached. They've worked very hard, and a lot of them have come up through the Sounders academy teams, and you can see that they've had a chance to play together for a while. That kind of thing really shows.
Now into that compact defense and fancy footwork. Dumbaya makes another stab at it, but right there, Rogers.
That had a lot of zip on it, considering how far away the shot was.
And how high off the hip Dumbaya had to take it down.
That's a great turn and a fantastic shot that challenged Keegan Rogers. He had to bat it down and then pick it up. He couldn't catch it cleanly. Too much mustard.
Challenge is right, and it's been challenge after challenge after challenge for Rogers. And
constant pressure.
You would like to think he'd get a deep breath at one moment here on a counter or two, but it just has not transpired so far.
He may have to wait the 7.5 minutes until the halftime break.
Which is exactly where we are.
And I'll say it again, I said it before. Keegan's playing really well today. He's been playing well all month long, all the way back into June, despite the score lines. And it's just that when you're facing this kind of pressure and this number of shots, you just cannot get to everything, as Mr. Tim Howard might attest.
Hansen to Johnson. Up forward to Schweitzer. Long ball will be headed away and cleared. Rose will keep it in bounds and inside the touchline. McCluskey will give it right back. And Rose will try to push forward. Foul will be awarded, a Sounders
Steve
foul.
Moen did not like that.
Not at all. You could see very quick to show his distaste for that call.
Yes, indeed.
And back to the Gunners now. Gunners would like nothing more than to apply their own pressure, and they're going to have to do it in the final 6 minutes and change. And that looked like that one could have been the foul that was not whistled, or was whistled earlier.
Not as firm, I think, but similar plays. It would be huge for Puget Sound if they could get one back in the next 6.5 minutes and go into the break only chasing one. I mean, it's not impossible. We've seen teams come back from more than that. But going into the break down a goal when you've just gotten one feels a lot different than trailing by 2. So a critical time here for Puget Sound to try and find what they can in the attacking third.
And if you don't get it in the final 6, you're going to have to talk about how you can get it probably within the first 10 minutes.
It's got to start
coming
quickly.
Out of the locker room
Absolutely.
at the half.
Just to flip this around, with Puget Sound had a 3-goal lead rather at Seattle in May, and the first goal didn't come until the 80th or so, maybe the 78th minute. And after that, the play changed completely. That first goal made a huge difference. Seattle got a second in stoppage time. If that had been all there was, it would have been a lot different. But because they had that 3-goal cushion, they hung on to get the 3 points on the road. You get a goal, it can really change the game.
Here's McCluskey now into the double team, trying to kick it back to Urzua. And the buildup begins, but it's began many times through that particular 20 yards here between the 40s.
Well, look at Seattle right now. They've now got 9 men in between midfield and the 18-yard box.
Taking a little something out of the Jimmy Ball playbook, perhaps. And McCluskey with a foul, and that was absolute and without question.
It looks as though Brockway thinks he was getting grabbed onto by the Gunners forward McCluskey, but you still can't shove a guy down like that.
And it was obvious. That one was not.
The little shirt grabs the referee will get if he's close enough and looking the right way. Those shoves, as we just saw, Chapalo Street had no issue calling from 20 yards.
So the ball marked. And service far post. Nobody running on for Jeffrey Rose's right foot attack.
That's kind of an in-between ball there. You can't get you can't threaten the goal. It's too far wide, but the offside line was set a little too high for guys to run onto that, unfortunately.
4 minutes now remain here in the first half of play. And the Sounders have been in charge from the onset of this one. Keegan Rogers will come up and time that well. I'd like to remind you that you can visit the USL Pro fan page on Facebook, and that is at facebook.com/USLPDL. Facebook page. We'd like to get a few more likes if you're willing to go right there right now.
And of course the Gunners' own page. That's Puget Sound Gunners FC on Facebook.
3 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock here at Issaquah High School. 2-0 your score. The Sounders FC on top of Puget Sound Gunners. In the waning moments of the first half, Keith Neely alongside Nathan Murphy. And Nathan, it started out well in defense for the Gunners. They were able to keep much of their shape in that back line, but picking away just enough and finding a little chink in the armor. Puget Sound bends a little more, and there's another bend and a break as our right foot squirts by Keegan Rogers into the side netting, but not before it bends inside the far post for another goal. It's 3-0, and that is not what the Gunners needed.
That's Geertsen's second, and that's a beautiful strike. It's 25 yards from goal, curling inside that post. Keegan Rogers, it's a good dive that Keegan made, but he had given a little bit too much space maybe to that far post, and Geertsen made him pay.
Geertsen, 24th minute, 42nd minute, got the first one off a rebound. That one, rockin' fire.
That's a beautiful strike. As an opponent, you can't do anything but give him credit and try not to give him space next time around.
Williams with the foul will concede it back to the Sounders. And Hansen will take it in. And they are not going to be content with 3-0. By the way, they're dialing up another attack.
Well, why would you? You go out and play, and you're getting ready for next week. And these Sounders, with a win, put themselves right back in playoff contention here. This is a very important game for them, and not only that, it's an important time in preparation for them getting into the last few games of the season here.
They'll have to do a little bit of vaulting and probably have to have some help.
They will need help.
As Kitsap and Vancouver with 22 and 21 points sit atop the table. As we get ready for a free kick, and that is taken away and denied in attack. And now a little bit of a counter for the Sounders once again as Dumbaya heads in right-footed. A little hesitation move, took to the rug that time and whistled. Go back to the table quickly before this free kick, and Victoria, Portland, and the Sounders U23. So you got 18, 16, and 14 points. So
Kevin Cook shown a yellow card here for that foul. Or possibly for the dissent, I'm not certain. You could hear him up here expressing his frustration with that call, and into the book he goes in the 44th. The 45th, rather.
And while they do the booking, the Sounders get set. Dunler will take the service over a four-man wall. And once again, far post as Rogers calls out the cues for the men marking on that far side. Here's service to the middle. Header is away, and it will be taken clear by Cook. As the regular clock winds down, we'll see how much stoppage time, and there will be none. Now they have a throw in. I thought they were given I thought they were signaling the end of the first half. And they'll probably give the Sounders one last gasp here at an offensive attack. And we'll see what they can do with it. Johnson takes it away. He's been impressive.
He has.
Big body. Uses it well, has won the majority of his duels. And there's a run on and a nice one by Geertsen looking for the hat trick.
That's well played by Keegan Rogers to come out and grab that ball. That's you've got to decide quickly, and you've got to back up your decision. Keegan did very well to win that ball.
30 seconds into stoppage time. And a foul awarded back to the Gunners.
Probably a little bit too far for a true attacking set piece here, but something that the Gunners can try and build on in the waning moments of the first half. No different than when they were down by 2. A goal here would be massive.
Momentum.
Absolutely.
And a chance to catch your breath on a nice warm summer's day and know that you've got a little extra energy. There goes the Williams shot, and it's knocked away, booted out by Jefferson. Here's the right foot. It'll squirt clear off the misplay, and that will be the end of the half. 3 in the net for the visiting Sounders FC, and they are large and in charge now as teams will wander off toward the locker room and try to regroup. Most of the regrouping will be done by Jimmy Ball's squad, and they'll have to see if they can't draw up a little magic in the locker room to try to get 3 back, Nathan.
They've got a lot of work to do. It's not like we haven't seen this team score 3 goals against Seattle Sounders. But, boy, the side's looking very different than they did on that May afternoon. And a lot to do for Puget Sound Gunners. They have to come out looking very different than they have. Not just in the first half here, but different than they have come out as far as posture in the last couple of matches.
It seems to be all about timing for this Sounders squad. They have not had anything close to runs on an offside state. And, boy, most of the timing, Joey Gertzen, he's been in the right place at the right time.
So is Derek Johnson, and these guys are really all together, and that's something that we've commented about before. They play really, really excellent team possession soccer. And it's important when you're leading. If you have the ball, your opponent can't score. It's really that simple sometimes.
So we'll take a break here at the half. We'd like to remind you that due to ASCAP rules and on YouTube, we can no longer do our halftime show as the PA will play music on the over the sound system here. So we will take our leave, but we'd like to welcome you back afterwards, and we'll set things up at the final 45 gets set to play on the clock. And right now it is a 3-0 score at Issaquah High School. Sounders on top of Puget Sound. We'll be back. Welcome back out of the half to today's broadcast of Puget Sound Gunners FC Soccer, presented by Swedish Issaquah, also sponsored by ProLiance Surgeons and ProLiance Orthopedic and Sports Medicine, and by My Spine Sports Chiropractic. The Seattle Sounders enjoying a 3-0 advantage over the Gunners of Puget Sound here at the Puget Sound Gunners home field. Issaquah High School, Keith Neely and Nathan Murphy alongside for the ride, and it's been a ride if you're a Sounders fan.
It has. It has, and it's been a ride for everybody. A lot more pleasant if you're wearing rave green here this afternoon. However, Seattle very much in control of this match, looking a very excellent side in many ways. We were talking through the break about their passing and their control of the ball. It's not like they're doing spectacular things. The touches are simple. The touches are basic, but they're on target time after time after time. And they do a great job of building through a Puget Sound midfield and defense that really stymied their last two opponents.
And they've done it with what we mentioned when we were talking at the halftime break, a lot of what looks like just practice, 2v2s and 3v3s, and it just happens to be that they're in little pockets, and they pretty much shredded the Puget Sound Gunners defense using those tactics.
They have a yellow card for dissent, presumably, trying to see who that was shown to. I think it might be Matt Aronimo. And indeed, that is who it is. So caution to Matt in the 47th minute of the match.
Back on the defense, go the Gunners. The scoring started after a bang couple of shots into the area on keeper Keegan Rogers, who filleted them nicely and pushed them aside, save one. And that was the very slow to gather himself, and that's Joey Gertzen. And boy, once he got that ball down and to that right foot, he Popeyed that thing home in the 24th minute.
He did. The ball fell right to his feet, and he had time to turn right around the penalty spot, and Keegan Rogers was out of position through no fault of his own, making another play, but he couldn't get back in time, and kind of a simple finish, a finish that you'd expect a player at this level to make the vast majority of the time.
And then Zeb Toblieb on a corner kick on the far side of the field here at Issaquah put in a beauty to Derek Johnson on the far post in the 28th minute.
Well, and it wasn't directly from the corner kick. It's something the Sounders have done frequently this afternoon. They did it with the free kick here just a moment ago, is they've been willing to play those set pieces short and try and make something else out of it. Toblieb's cross came a good 15 yards in on the goal line, inside the penalty area. And it was a looping ball up and over the top that was absolutely perfectly placed at the far post, where Derek Johnson made an exquisite header to sneak it inside that far post.
And to make it 3-0, we have to go back to Joey Gertzen, who got quite a dandy through ball by Michael Baiza, and just put it right in. Pop right to the back of the heart. And it was 3-0, and Sounders could go into the locker room with a big deep breath.
Well, Baiza fed the ball perfectly, and it was a good pass, but you got to give all the credit to Gertzen on that shot. He was well outside the penalty area. It was a curling shot that put Keegan Rogers moving the wrong way. Initially, he didn't have time to get back to his far post. It's a perfect shot if there is such a thing, and a lot of credit to him for that.
Sounders defense shielding well, wins the possession back, and now trying a loop over with a long run on by Dumbaya.
Well shepherded back by Michael Dodds to his goalkeeper.
And that's communication. You could tell Dines was yelling at Rogers the entire time.
Well, and they're seeing how far away the player is, how far away the ball is as well. It's a good defensive play.
Sunshine turning to filtered haze now.
It wouldn't be a Seattle 4th of July without some clouds, would it?
And the hint of precipitation from what we've been hearing, but it's most likely will not happen during gameplay here today.
No, they're saving it for the fireworks. That's
exactly
how it goes.
what they do.
That's how it goes.
Officially, summer starts tomorrow in Seattle.
That's right, and it ends the day before Labor Day, right?
Actually enjoyed some very nice weather up here in the great PNW over the last couple of years. So
absolutely.
More making fun of ourselves. And
over the last couple of weeks even. It was warm earlier this week. It's been nice up here.
It really has. Back to gameplay in the the 45th minute. We're just underway. It is the 50th minute. 50th minute of play, and it's 3-0 as the Sounders now have put a little more gumption in their attack. And Vincent McCluskey will run up this right-hand side and shove. Now, that is some physical play, and if that doesn't warrant some kind of booking, I'd be surprised.
Very surprised not to see a whistle from the center referee or a flag. And it seems as though Steve Mohn's as upset as Vincent McCluskey is. I don't know if he got his arm grabbed. Certainly there was a big shove by Mohn that was visible to us up here. We don't know what went on before that. The referee is content, Chapalo Street, to talk to both men and say knock it off, and we return with a goal kick over onto the near side.
We're talking foul theory down there around the 20-yard line.
I suppose.
And
the theory of fouls, or is the theory itself foul? I'm sorry, that was horrible.
And we'll move on. The Sounders generating more forward play. And that does not bode well if that continues for the Sounders as they trying to chest things back into play.
Just a little bit outside of the
Dunler.
reach.
And now the Sounders with that long throw-in. Cook gets the ball high above his head, and he can throw it in with some mustard on it.
Boy, though, absolutely nowhere for Urzua to go with it. 3 gray shirts around him, absolutely nowhere to go. It's good defending from Seattle, but they have to give him options. You can't just leave the ball and hope that the man can turn and do something with it. You've got to give him somewhere to go.
And don't give him a chance to smother.
That's exactly right.
And here we go back into the midfield for the Sounders.
And that's exactly what Seattle have done so well this afternoon. You look at the way that this Puget Sound defense absolutely frustrated 2 opponents in a row in Lane United and Washington Crossfire. And Seattle has just brushed that aside casually. They haven't allowed themselves to hold on to the ball in any one place long enough for that to get shut down. We talked about their basic passing. But when it's continuous and on target, when you don't give the ball away and you don't let the ball stay stagnant, it's very hard to shut you down. And that's what Seattle's done.
Whistled off of Brose's header, and it will be a corner kick back to the Seattle Sounders. Sounders looking to climb up the table and try to eke their way into the playoffs.
They would need some help, particularly a loss or 2 by Vancouver. But certainly that's not out of the realm of possibility in this league, and they have enough points remaining to put themselves in position if they get that help.
Dodds with the header away, and now into the area. Rogers has to make a kind of a wing and a prayer out there.
You didn't even have to touch that. A goal kick, says Chapalo Street.
And again, all the attack after the locker room break has been that of the Sounders. And how much of the play so far, if you can think of a percentage, Nathan, has been on the Sounders side of the 50-yard line?
At least 75. At absolute least. The Sounders have controlled possession to a great degree here today. And you've seen that in some of the other Gunners matches where they've had success. In the Portland match to open the season, the Timbers controlled possession. Nice tackle.
Onside was Dumbaya, and a hard tackle, but it was a legit one, a legal one.
Dodds.
And having to run back, Dawes had to make 2 or 3 long strides in order to just keep up.
It's a dangerous tackle to make because if you time it wrong or if you aim it wrong, you're giving up a penalty. But he did those both right. He got the ball first, and he came through without getting his opponent. The opponent went down out of his own momentum. And obviously we don't have the best of views from up here, but to what I could see, correctly adjudged to be a clean tackle by Chapalo Street.
And at what point in time, if you're a defender and you're down 3-0, do you decide you're going to take in those tackles where you may not in a score that's even?
You know, frustration plays a role in those things, and it's every player's different. Some guys treat this very professionally. They're just up and about their business, and you know, it takes a lot more to get to them. Other guys are a little more easily frustrated. We've seen a couple of yellow cards for what I think was dissent so far this afternoon. So everyone's a little different in that. And when you turn and take your frustration out in the play, will be dependent on when you just can't take it anymore, you know?
Back and forth trying the long ball. Up and over the top of everybody is Cook. And Dirksen and McCluskey had a nice little 1-2 punch brewing there on that right-hand side. It looked like they were going to get a little love.
They did, and then the long ball just barely out of the reach of the man on the far side, Jeffrey Rose. It's worth noting that Dodds is off the pitch right now. I think he was bleeding and had to get patched up, so a little bit short in the back right now where the Gunners. Dodds just now ready to come back on when he gets the referee's attention.
And that defense, sensing blood in the water, are the Sounders, and they put 4 men forward on the 3 men defenders there on that, just on that left side alone.
Dodds back in the back now.
Now the build-up. McCluskey trying to find Hammond running on the right-hand side, and a little miscommunication. Hammond now turns and points to where he wanted that last pass to be. Just the gears not quite meshing all the way today for the Gunners.
No, and a lot of that speaks to the quality of Seattle. I mean, you really have a team here that has come in and forced its will and not allowed Puget Sound to get into any kind of rhythm on either end of the field.
Urzua asking for and receiving a foul call.
As it should have been.
And is being tugged on his jersey a number of times trying to make the turn.
That's a nice piece of refereeing. Chapalo Street waited a moment to see if Urzua could play out of it and not just play through the contact, but gain an advantage from the play as he comes over to have a chat and settle down Urzua and his opposite number in Jordan Schweitzer. But when it was apparent that that the advantage wasn't going to materialize, he brought it, not just called the foul, but he brought it back to where the initial contact took place near the 50-yard line.
Hammond misses the header just a bit, 2 or 3 inches from drawing a shot on Jefferson Caldwell.
Have the Gunners had a shot on goal? I don't believe that they have.
I do not have a shot on goal.
I don't either.
And the Gunners and Keegan Rogers 4 saves officially at the break to the 1 of Caldwell. Fouls 8-5. Gunners over Sounders, playing the aggressors today. And now on is McCluskey. Right foot into Hammond. Missed just a bit. Had a good look at it.
Touched over by Brockway.
Brockway had him marked. And if Hammond, though, can get up over the top.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Brockway got to the ball before it got through.
And down on the pitch now, we've got an injured player. And that is Austin Dunler. And he was down well before any of that activity for the Gunners.
Well, I think the tackle took him in the shin a little bit, and I don't know if it was the leg coming through or if it was the ball or what it was. It was judged clean by Chapalo Street, but still down as Dunler, and he may need to be replaced. We'll see.
I'd like to remind you that YouTube is the league's official online video home, offering live games and feature content. You can subscribe for free to the USL PDL YouTube channel. Of course, that's where you found us today, and you can find all the matches that we have broadcast on Puget Sound Gunners. Just throw the Gunners Soccer into the search window, and you'll find us if you need to give an easy way to the broadcast to friends and family. That's the best way to do it. Dunler will be helped off under his own power. Just says he will walk off. The thumbs up given back to the 4th official, so he will re-enter healthily when he has had the time to dust off the cobwebs. I'd say rub a little dirt on it, but the pebbles here
That's true.
and the artificial turf probably wouldn't feel too good rubbed in very deep.
This is true.
And we'll get set here to resume play.
Zach Hammond during that interval left the match. Fausto Ordenana into the match. It's his first appearance since getting sent off in British Columbia a couple of weeks ago. 18.
Sounders enjoying a 3-0 lead with 30 left. A half hour left to play here at Issaquah High School.
Got one more substitution. I'm not sure who he replaced, but 15 is into the match. That's Smith. And
And now things are getting a little testy as we got some shoving going on and words exchanged after that hard kick, and then no one is backing down as the officials now will run on to clear the heads and the minds of the players and try to get some emotion at bay here. And everybody will step back and take a look at things here.
Chapalo Street will talk things over with Ryan Fairhurst. We'll see what we're going to have as a result of this.
And the assistant referee Fairhurst, a product of Snohomish High School.
I did not know that.
So a local kid.
And it looks like the yellow card is going to be shown to Steve Moan.
Moan in the book.
Just after the hour mark, 62nd minute.
62. And that could have gone a lot of different ways.
This is true.
And it was Moan who I don't think he got the first push and shove in there, but he was certainly the most visible.
Well, I think what he went into the book for, I think, was blasting the ball into the pile after the whistle had gone. You can't do that. I mean, that's, in referee parlance, that's considered striking. He could even be sent off for that if he'd really got it at an opponent. But it's dangerous to do that when there's a knot of guys. The whistle's gone. There's
everybody
discussion
relaxes.
going on. You just can't knock the ball in like that. So we'll resume. I'm not sure where we're going to resume. Referee's looking for a ball. I think he's going to drop the ball here. And we're going to play it back. Nope.
So into the book goes Moan, yet possession.
I think the initial foul went against Puget Sound, and the caution came for after the play.
Onside, back heel. Here is Dumbaya. Dangerous with 3 running.
Touched away by Smith.
And now Bros will try to get Puget Sound back on the offense. It just has not been much of it, and it hasn't been A, consistent, and B, for very long.
It's tough to put together when Seattle's just playing such excellent possession. You get the ball, you don't have a lot of time on the ball, and you have to do something quickly with it. You lose it, and you're right back where you started. But credit to Seattle, as I've been saying. It's just a quality team that's come in here and kind of taken apart very clinically what the Gunners were trying to do.
Biza back to Dunler. Onto the right-hand side, Moan, who was put in the book 2 minutes ago. We have to say that he's done an outstanding job in the back, although we haven't called his name much. Moan, aside from the fiery boot into the pile,
he's done a
has
nice
done
job.
very, very well back there.
When the Gunners have gotten a runner down there, he and his center back partner in Brockway have done very well at shutting those down before they have. I mean, the Gunners just haven't been able to hold possession into the penalty area. I don't think they've done it a single time, so the center backs always get credit for that.
And I have a 22 on now for the Sounders. I'll get you a name here as soon as I can get to the roster sheet. And that is cleared. Rogers with it. 25 to play plus stoppage in the ball game. No score in the second half of play. But the Sounders really don't have to do much with a 3-0 lead over that first 45 minutes of play. I'm not giving up the attack, but certainly have been very careful to put 2 and 3 men behind every attack.
Absolutely.
And that's Esteban Reyes, the man who came on for the Sounders side. Reyes playing over here on the left-hand run.
Looks to be lining up as that winger, outside midfielder, and he was very effective in that role against Puget Sound back in May. Had a lot of runs forward that left him in a place to create chances. I don't think he actually had an assist, but he was very threatening, particularly in the first half of that match.
And the Sounders, what they need is more threats. With a 3-0 advantage, the Gunners want to see nothing of it. And now a free ball. Just a chip shot, headed on, and here's a chance. It's McCluskey, and he'll knock the keeper. Caldwell goes tumbling, and that will be a goal kick.
That's a tough play for Vincent McCluskey. He's moving, looking up at the ball. The goalkeeper's got both hands over McCluskey's shoulders. Now, Vince did give a little bit of a back push, trying to hold his position, but there's not a lot as a forward that you can do sometimes when the goalkeeper's in your space. Referees will tend to protect goalkeepers. Goalkeepers certainly don't mind that. Some people will say it's to a fault, but the tendency is pretty consistent. So you don't like it if you're the forward, but I don't think you can be surprised by a call like that either.
So denied was McCluskey, although the first ball in the area that has meant anything for the Gunners so far in this ball game that I can remember.
That's a nice
build-up. It's hard to come up with another example.
I really like the way that free kick was taken over the top by Geronimo, floating toward the post on that side in a position where somebody does have to get ahead on it, but making the ball float around in the penalty area is never a bad thing. I like what they did there.
And now another build-up. Dirksen with a missed touch there.
I think he thought McCluskey was going to go the other way.
Go right into the defense, and
Yep.
now the Sounders have a chance to even tack on more insurance should they get in enough numbers forward, and they'll back it out.
I think over-insured is such a thing, don't you?
It would seem to be a 4-0, and we're almost insured enough that the broadcast crew can just coast, I think, right? Don't we get to phone in the rest of that one?
As you approach the 70th minute of a 3-0 match, the likelihood, being realistic, the likelihood goes down. But you never know. Like I said, against this same club, Seattle trailing 3-0, got their first one maybe in the 74th or 78th minute and made a match of it. Another goal in stoppage time. So it starts with one. That's all you got to get to make something different, and goals can change the way that games flow. So you get one. Don't worry about getting three. Get one and go on from there.
Rzua with a nice bit of footwork there. A couple of beautiful touches. The Sounders keep possession, and the first real consistent build-up that we've seen. Holding much of the possession here over a lengthy period of time.
They're doing very nicely. Seattle's giving them some space to work with, and they're doing a good job of taking it and not making unsure touches, not making sloppy touches to give away possession. That one blasted over the baseball fence and into that diamond by Brockway.
Bros looking for the ball back. Has to take some time in order to get at least one retrieved. And now into the double team goes McCluskey. He'll try to get a foot on it. Drug down. It's just outside the box.
That's got to be inside.
Be a goal kick.
No, he gave the foul. He
did
the
give it a foul.
He's saying
Okay,
it's outside. From up here, granted, he's down
looked
there.
like he was right on that yellow stripe on the far side.
On the lines inside. I think that's a penalty. Very, very lucky to Seattle not to be surrendering a spot kick, in my opinion. All the same, a very dangerous spot.
No, says Chapala Street. And now here's the service right-hand side, and
Came before the whistle.
They will shoot it again.
Yeah, that's okay. That wasn't a great service. They'll have the chance to play that again. That one got caught in the wind a little bit and floated away from goal, I think, more than they had intended.
And I can't tell who's over on that far post. Is that Dirksen? No, Dirksen's in the area.
I think that's Rose.
And Raul Rose headed in. It is Bros back out. Had a chance at a rebound. Lulled to sleep a little bit after the header. Bros, had he broke to his left, would have had a little bit of a window.
He did a nice job to push that one toward goal, and there would have been a chance there had it occurred. But we've got a double substitution, it looks like, for Seattle, 21 and 28. That's Johnson has a goal, and Schweitzer, who helped create one. They're both leaving.
And of course, the development league, you want to see as many on your roster into a match, especially one like this, to try to get them some more experience.
Yep, all 6 of the field players on the active roster are allowed to be allowed to enter the match. You get 6 substitutions, and we'll get you the names of the newly arrived men as soon as we're able. It's like 26?
17 and 26, right. I believe.
17's already in the game. That's 7, I think.
Okay, could be. That's right. Zeb Toblev is the man wearing jersey number 17, and Jamail Cox wearing number 7, a forward on the roster. 2 assists in 10 games. And then that is indeed the man that came on. And now a foul, and things are still a little rough around the edges as referee once again has to go and a booking. And reaches into his pocket.
Goes to Ordonana.
And sure is the man who came on only 8 minutes ago, Ordonana in the book. Came on replacing Hammond.
To get you the other substitution, number 26 is Troy Peterson.
And I did not see who he came in for. Schweitzer, I believe.
That appears to be correct, yes. I was not writing positionally, I just wrote quickly.
And accurately, most importantly.
Well, I don't know that I would vouch for that. I am trying to read the carbon copy on the photograph on my phone, so.
And outside the wickets on the right-hand side.
Dumbia's shot, I think, went off of Brose, who's still limping around a little bit. He took that one pretty hard.
So the 8th corner kick of the afternoon for Seattle. Definitely had their opportunities.
They
made good on at least one of them, and that was the little give and go, played short. In the 28th minute, there's a far post and a header by Dumbia. He got up in the air. That man has some.
That was a nice leap, and he headed it.
Some big shoes up in the air.
He sent it back for Cox, and that was a pass. That's not a shot. And Cox got something on it, but he didn't manage to put it on frame. If he does, it might be 4-0 because that had some weight behind it, and it was low.
Once again, another duel won and by the man who just came on, Peterson.
And the foul given against Ordonana again. He's got to be careful. Already on a yellow card. It would be unfortunate to see him get sent off twice in as many appearances.
And you have to imagine that the leash is much, much shorter here after the fracas at the midfield area.
No, the officiating crew has to make sure that nobody gets hurt. That's their first goal at this point. When you're in a situation where the outcome of the match is not, I mean, you never want to say a game is over, but when it appears as though the outcome is largely determined, your most important thing is to make sure that nobody gets injured on a play that you can prevent. As it looks that Justice Dirksen will leave the match, as will Kevin Cook. So we'll get you the names of their replacements.
76th minute now of play here at Issaquah High School as the substitutions are made. And coming on, Esteban Ochoa, as is Brian Brown, the 2 replacements. 75 minute has drawn blanks here in the second half for both squads. But the side that did the most damage, of course, is the one that's up 3-0, that Sounders FC side.
That's true.
Very simple breakdown on their offensive buildup in order to disarm that defense that has been so stellar so far in the last 2 or 3 games for this Gunners side.
Well, the Sounders have done such a good job moving the ball quickly, and we talk about stagnant attack versus dynamic attack. This is a very dynamic attack that the Seattle Sounders have, and it doesn't give a Gunners team a lot of time to try and attack or try and swarm on the ball, try and make it sticky through the midfield when they just go touch, 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 it can get through very quickly.
Dangerous service into Peterson. And it's headed away. It was Biza that had the corner. Now another one. This is the 10th of the match for the Sounders. Into the area and right at the feet inside the 6. The Seattle defense, or excuse me, Seattle offense had an opportunity. Now the counter. And there's a 3-man advantage. Can they stay on side, having to hesitate for just a moment? And it'll run outside the lines. And perhaps an extra touch or two stalled that attack off the lengthy dribbling.
And a yellow card now. I think, well, it can't be to Ordonana. He was already on one, so it looks like that went to his opposite number. That's Dunker, Austin Dunker.
Busy day for the referees and assistants here. Necessary.
Nice punch by Jefferson Caldwell.
Dumbaya begins the counter-attack now. Drops it off. Toblieb back to Dumbaya. Marked there by Aronimo, who finally ends up with it. And will just ask for help. And finally will be awarded possession. Good job by Matt.
That's a good defensive effort there. Mo Dumbaya is a very dynamic player, a lot of speed and skill on the ball to keep him pinned down in the corner like that. That's good work by Mr. Aronimo.
13 minutes left in this match, and McCluskey trying to get above the defense and get something started now as urgency, name of the game for the Gunners offense. Here's
you like
McCluskey.
seeing what's happened in the last few minutes here. The touches have been better, and the string of possession has been better for the men in white and blue.
And they'll have to string one or two passes more than they've been doing the last few possessions. They're trying to play the long ball to McCluskey. And if you can get one or two through this midfield cleanly, like we were able to see the possession beforehand.
Rose made that nice long run.
And once again, falling just short.
Not a lot for Ochoa to work with there.
And Jefferson Caldwell is going to have to be a little bit careful here not to get delay, and held on to that one. Spotted some sign language just enough to get his defenders in front of him, and then just held on to the ball for an extra pause at 11 minutes and change. And the Sounders now look like they're be a little more content to just wait back. That would have been through that midfield in a hurry in the first half. Far side, running on is Dumbaya. And dangerous once again, and almost into the goal. Keegan Rogers comes back, and now it's Toblieb who tries to punch it into the keeper. He's lucky he didn't get into the book.
That's a fabulous
But a great job of coming back to grab that one.
Great piece of team defense. It started with Rogers, it ended with Rogers, and in between there, not one but two saves off the line. That's great from Puget Sound. And absolutely distraught not to have finished that is Toblieb.
And that danced on the line. I mean, it danced, it hung. It was like a baseball bunt that just stays fair.
Well, you need the FIFA goal line technology graphic to pop up.
You do.
Show
Where
you
is that?
I mean, you could see from up here that was on the correct side of the line for Gunners fans. And that's, I cannot laud enough the teamwork to get that one back into the field of play.
And now we've got a substitute coming on for Seattle.
Zev Toblieb will leave after not scoring in that instance. Nice effort, young man.
Absolutely. Beautiful job just short.
And the assist in the 28th minute, perfectly placed for Johnson to send home.
So emptying the majority of the bench now, as we've got another substitute for Seattle. And why not?
12?
Come on. Get a little extra time with those neon boots.
You betcha.
Back into the midfield it goes. Misplay just a bit by Peterson. Dumbaya still stirring up the pot. 1-on-4, yet unsettled are the defenders. Even with that big of an advantage, as Dumbaya is just right there. Seems to be centerpiece of this offense, obviously. But not content with 3-0 and not content to not have scored one of these 3 goals.
I'm sure he wants one for himself, and you got to remember these guys are also getting ready for another match in which they need to win and try and move themselves into a potential playoff spot. So a big time for them as far as preparation, even if this game is most likely already decided.
Another corner kick. Seems like we've said that once or twice today.
12 times.
And if you're going to give a team 12 corner kicks, and you say that at the beginning of the match to the opposing team, you'll take it.
Yes, you will.
Service straight away, not clear. Seattle defense right there, put 4 into the area, right where that ball was, and it would have taken a eye of the needle type shot.
Or shoving your man down as Reyes did.
That will happen too.
Well spotted by Chipalo Street.
Yeah, it's a great piece of defense, a great piece of offense if you get away with it.
I suppose it is. It's only cheating if you get caught, they say. Not that I actually believe that as a referee, but that is what they say.
Now running on. Sounders still chewing up offensive possessions. And in doing so, keeping this clock well on their way to being a W here. 7 minutes and change to go.
Foul given against Ochoa there. Just clipped the back of Austin Dunker's leg, it looked like.
And the way both these teams have gotten a little chippy. Dunker, good job at just letting that one happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Bit of descent, but not by much. There's a far post run, though it will be wide. And once again, testing Keegan Rogers.
3 goals do not indicate how well Keegan played today. He did a very nice job, particularly against that early first half flurry, but he's made some nice plays here in the second half as well. He also did a nice job of preventing Gertson from getting his hat trick early on here in the second half, or late in the first half rather, going down to get that blistering shot very low that he had to go down and get. So Keegan, a lot of credit for the scoreline only being what it is. He played a nice game this afternoon.
And how high has the bar been set at keeper now? What is the expectation?
Well,
after...
I mean, 2 consecutive clean sheets are what they are, right? But goals against isn't necessarily the best metric of what a goalkeeper is doing. So you give up 1 goal on 1 shot. That's not a very good afternoon. And if you give up 3 goals but you faced 15 shots, you may have done very well. So save percentage is a metric that some people will use, and there's some other more advanced metrics that take into account how difficult the shot was to save and whether or not the goalkeeper really had a chance to get there.
Onside and running. Here's service right at the keeper, Caldwell.
A little bit higher necessary to get to McCluskey, but you like the run from Ochoa. And Puget Sound hasn't gone away. Give them credit for this. They're playing hard here as we play in the 84th, 85th minute. They haven't gone to sleep on this match, and they deserve credit for that.
And right now you're playing for a lot of reasons besides score. And on a team like the Gunners, whose success has come in chunks, I mean, they're riding a 2-game winning streak. It certainly has not been that success has been completely out of the ordinary. But to find yourself near the bottom of the table and you're going to make every effort to get your minutes and get some time. There's another great job at defending, knocking that ball clear.
Well, and this
and
is
Ochoa just wants a ball right now. He's going to attack at any touch
Good for him.
gets. Yep.
Good for him. This being a development league, these guys aren't just here for results. And, of course, you want the results. It's more fun when you get them. But these guys are here to use this playing time. That's the second time Dunker's gone down in exactly this situation against Ochoa. I'm not sure if Ochoa is doing something, or I'm not saying anything about Austin Dunker. I'm just saying that's the same play that happened just a moment ago.
Ordonana picking him up with one hand and very gentlemanlike, pulls him back up off his feet. Whether he went down a little easier than most would have hoped or not. Good sportsmanship on the other side after a bit of a mix-up.
There was about 15 minutes there where the physical factor of this game got a little high and the teams got into each other a little bit. And it settled back down, I think, after that. These guys are back to playing for development and looking for skill improvement, getting some, not to say practice time, but getting some game experience and some good minutes here late in this game. And you haven't seen guys being confrontational in the same way you did about 15 minutes ago.
Mistouch there. Bros could not come back and pick it up before it went out in front of the Sounders bench. In the 86th minute, 87th minute now. Reyes. Hesitation. Left foot. Clear.
Well defended.
Brown on the defense.
That's what you do. Prevent the cross. You give up a corner, so be it. Number 13.
I was going to say, it's not like it hasn't been one or two, but the 13th corner kick of the afternoon for the Sounders. Whistle given. Here comes a punch out by Rogers. And the ball still in the 18, and finally Reyes gets his second foul call inside the box. Also hungry.
He is at that. I told you that he was kind of a pest as far as being in and around the penalty area, especially in the first half of that last match. And he's playing in very much the same way here this afternoon. Give him a lot of credit for the way he goes after it.
Puget Sound on the 4th of July, kind of a tradition for this side. Played last year, of course, up in Edmonds, a home match.
That was a huge 1-0 win. Brady Ballou got that goal.
Fun. Stands were filled and chanting at the end of the match there. When we did that game a year ago, had done the big parade in downtown Edmonds, and then we find ourselves a beautiful afternoon to start. Gotten a little bit cooler now as the clouds have moved in. The front coming. After this match, it's on to the peninsula for the Gunners. They play at Kitsap, the Pumas.
The league-leading Pumas, or the division anyway.
And it's a game that matters for the top of the table, and only 1 point separating the Pumas and the Whitecaps.
And not a ton. I mean, 18 points are Victoria, but that's only one win coming up there, and they've got a game in hand on Vancouver. So that's very much in flux, those few spots there, not just playing for the playoffs, playing for a berth in next year's United States Open Cup and a chance to earn your way up into a match with the likes of Seattle Sounders, the senior side.
Sounders, another corner kick in the last minute of regular play and then regulation here. Both of the remaining games, actually, one game on the road, one at home. The finale will be here at Issaquah High School as that one scoots by Rogers wide right. So the Pumas and Victoria, the Highlanders at home. Two teams playoff bound should they hold the table the way it is now. And the Gunners trying to threaten one more time. Have not had a lot of threats today. As
Just to demonstrate how well Seattle have played, they've sent 8 or 10 through balls. That's the first time they've been called offside today.
the only time, and it came in the last minute inside 90. And now we're on to extra time. One offside.
It just
Entire
demonstrates
game of attack.
the coordination and timing that Seattle have demonstrated today. They have not done anything spectacular. You haven't seen a Lionel Messi out here or a spectacular individual play as far as a long run, but the precision with which the Seattle Sounders have played, just, that looked painful. Jumping into his post.
Caught
Jefferson
near post. Caldwell got about 3 ribs into the side of the wood there.
Looks like he's all right, thankfully.
And then came down to the turf pretty hard on a bounce.
When they say caught the woodwork, that usually means the ball, not the goalkeeper.
And that'll go right on back.
Ray has handled that, trying to keep it in play. Didn't manage to, and you probably rather have the free kick if you're the Gunners.
And once again, a quick counter. And that will also be an offsides, and that will be your ball game. It did not go the way of the Gunners today at Issaquah, losing 3-0 to the Seattle Sounders side, and a good one.
A very, very good Seattle team that I'm surprised to see where they are on the table the way they played today, but they seem to be kind of a streaky side. They started off very slow, did Seattle. A loss to Puget Sound Gunners in the first week, and a loss before that to Vancouver Whitecaps. And then they've turned around and they've played a stretch of some very good soccer in the middle of the year, and then, as you mentioned, they lost a couple in a row again. So an up-and-down season for Seattle Sounders under 23, but an excellent performance by them today, absolutely dismantling the defense of the Puget Sound Gunners that had looked very good for the last 2 games.
It did, and once that was figured out, once that compact defense was broken down just a little bit, and they did it in really a very easy, it seemed like very passive way. It wasn't like there was any trickery to it.
They were methodical, they were precise, and they created chances by holding possession and building slowly through the midfield. A very Spanish style of play. Very excellent. I have nothing but good things to say about the way Seattle played this afternoon.
Joey Gertzen, the man who got 2 of those goals, the 24th minute, 42nd minute. Derek Johnson, the other scoring player for the Sounders, got his in the 28th. And it seems as though they did it, although the finishes largely, especially the last one off of the right foot of Gertzen, was marvelous. They've been largely quiet. They were quiet possessions that ended in big bangs.
It's tough so the big exciting plays when you build out of the back and go fast. It's tough to do that when you're not really in your back very much. So Seattle calmly collected possession in the midfield, set themselves up the way they wanted to be and moved forward. And they didn't have any reason to do so in a rush. They didn't have any reason to do so with a whole lot of flair, because it just wasn't necessary. The basic passes were on target. They were crisp. They were well timed. And the Sounders just made it look easy today.
And with that, 3 points, the Sounders will move ahead of Portland Timbers. They move ahead 17 points to the Timbers 16, and then 1 behind Victoria. So very much in it are the Seattle Sounders. They string a couple of wins together, and they could be in business in the playoffs. Puget Sound, however, stay right where they are in 6th place, 2 a point ahead of the Crossfire and 3 ahead of Lane United, who is at the bottom of that table. Gets at Pumas, Vancouver Whitecaps, and Victoria Highlanders right now, 1, 2, 3 across the Northwest Division of the PDL.
And you look at the Sounders' schedule the rest of the way. They have 3 games remaining. They're at Washington Crossfire coming up here on Tuesday night, but their final 2 games, home to Victoria, home to Kitsap.
Tough.
That's a tough stretch, but if you win those games, those are the teams in front of you. Those are 6-pointers, as they say, and those are the games that can vault you. You get wins, guess what? You're going to be playing in the postseason.
And the Gunners will move on. They will play at Kitsap, the Pumas, on Sunday. only a couple of days from now, and then a week from today on Friday, July 11th, will be our next broadcast.
Our final broadcast.
And final one of the season when Victoria comes in to face Puget Sound right here at Issaquah High School. That game time is 7 p.m. on Friday, July 11th. And that'll wrap it up here at the home of the Puget Sound Gunners, Issaquah High School, 3-0. They fall to the Seattle Sounders FC, and that will do it. Keith Neely alongside Nathan Murphy, our producer, engineer, and genuine good guy, Todd Elvig, alongside us today. Brought the family, and we wish them well in their drive back up the I-405 corridor.
Mr. Josh Elvig on the camera. Thank you to him. And Teresa Whipple's our executive producer. We thank her as well. Can't do it without those folks. And can't do it without the folks that Keith's going to tell you about right now.
Thanks for watching the broadcast on the Puget Sound Gunners FC Soccer. They're presented by Swedish Issaquah and sponsored by Proliance Surgeons and Proliance Orthopedic and Sports Medicine and by My Spine Sports Chiropractic. Thanks for being with us. Again, Sounders with the win, 3-0 over the Gunners. Take care.